Hi and welcome to Notebook. In our today's video, we will talk about democratic rights. As the name of the chapter suggests, we will now learn about the various rights and its significance.
Human rights are congenital to all human beings, regardless of one's sex, race, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. These rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. Everybody is entitled to these rights without any discrimination.
But what if we were denied these basic rights? Can you imagine a life where you are not free to speak your mind or even cannot make your own choices? Difficult, right? Let us discuss some examples that will show you what it means to live in the absence of rights.
Post the 9/11 attack on New York City, about 600 people were seized by the US forces from all over the world. They were put in a prison in Guantanamo Bay, which is in Cuba, controlled by the American Navy.
This was the most talked about Guantanamo Bay detention camp established in 2002 by President George W. Bush's administration during the War on Terror.
The detainees were imprisoned abruptly without any prior intimation. Their families got to know of their imprisonment only through the media. Anas's father, Jamil El-Banna, was one of the prisoners. Little Anas wrote a letter to the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair, asking for his release. An organization of the international human rights, Amnesty International, reported that the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay were brutally tortured. They were even denied the treatment of war prisoners. Many prisoners protested by going on hunger strikes. They were not being released even after being acquitted officially. They even started an independent inquiry on the same, and after witnessing the torture, it ordered the shutdown of the prison. However, the US government, using its superpower status, kept on denying all such appeals and pleas. Let us now move from the US and UK to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi is ruled by a monarch where the king chooses his legislature and executives. He also appoints the judges and can change any decisions.
The king is the supreme controlling authority in Saudi Arabia. The citizens here are not free to choose their own religion and form their own political organizations.
Non-Muslims are only allowed to follow their religion in private. Women are also under a lot of restraints. The testimony of two women are considered to be equal to that of one man. If you remember, until 2012, women in Saudi Arabia were not even entitled to vote. Now, let's move into a province in Yugoslavia called Kosovo. Kosovo was inhabited by Albanians, though it was dominated by a Serb majority. When Milosevic came to power, his government was very combative to the Kosovo Albanians. The ethnic Albanians had only two options, either to leave the country or to accept the Serb dominance. An elderly couple, Batish Hoksa and her husband Izzet, was sitting by the stove in her kitchen. They heard explosions, but before they could realize anything else, 5-6 soldiers burst in and killed Izzet. They even took the wedding ring of Batisha's fingers, pushing her out of the house and burnt it.
This was a very typical narrative of what happened to the thousands of Albanians in Kosovo at that time.
Post the intervention of several countries, Milosevic lost his power and was tried by the International Court of Justice. This massacre in Kosovo is one of the worst instances of ethnic violence in recent times.
So what is your takeaway from these three classic examples?
Everyone should be treated fairly, irrespective of their socio-economic conditions. This treatment comes through rights. Rights are nothing but reasonable claims of a person that is recognized in a society and authorized by law. Rights assure that no one will be treated with contempt and disgrace in a society. It also ensures punishment to those violating it. For sustaining a democracy, it is necessary to entitle everyone with voting rights.
Voting rights involve the right to express one's opinion, to choose freely.
The government is assigned the sole authority to protect the rights, but sometimes the elected governments attack the rights of its own citizens. This is why some rights should be protected by the Constitution. This restricts the elected government to modify them according to their own will.
Next up, we shall study the rights granted to us by the Indian Constitution. Stay tuned.